Hey everyone, welcome back to JP's Budget Collecting and our weekly look back at the hot comics from 6 months ago. This week we're looking back at the hot comics from February 21st, 2025. I'm recording this earlier in the week than normal. I'm recording this on August 19th, 2025. Personal reasons forced me to do this a little bit earlier, but you guys won't be seeing this till the 23rd. But we had to do this a little earlier in the week. But as always, we're looking back 6 months at the CBSI Hot Top 10 and the Comic Tom Key Collector Hottest Trending Comics of the Week to see what books were hot back then, what factors made them hot, how have they responded in the market since, and see if we can learn a little bit about what's going on with these comics and how we should have made our decisions, what books we should chase, what books we should not. So last week we had a banner week where we had a ton of up books and a ton of steady books. Will that last more than 2 weeks in a row? We've been doing this for 6 years, and that's probably one of the best weeks we've had. Let's see what we can learn this week. So let's kick it off with Knights #1. This is the list because an animated series based on this comic was supposedly coming to Netflix. So immediately people were trying to buy this up, $10 to $35. Now it's a $5 to $10 book. 9.8 only 60 to 75. So down in a trap. No reason to have chased this book back then. I don't know if the series ever came out. I never heard any more about it. Maybe it's still on the horizon, but at this stage, yeah, you can definitely get this book for much, much cheaper than you could back then. Next, we got Basketful of Heads #1. And this was another one supposedly coming to, there's going to be a movie starring Natasha Lyonne. But this one only jumped to 10 to 15 back then. 9.8s were only 50 to 60. And it's still, I put this steady because it's 5 to 15. Most of the sales are right around $10. It's definitely an I'll be back. It didn't go high enough that it really hurt if you'd bought in back then, but no reason to have chased. Haven't heard anything more about whether or not this is moving forward. Still, it was reasonably priced back then. Now you might even still find a little better deal. So, all right, next. Whoop, went too far. Jump more than one slide. We got Gunslinger Spawn #18. This was hitting the list because people were going back and looking for anything Mark Spears, because anything Mark Spears is worth money apparently. But so people were going back and found this early Spawn cover from him from 2023, $15 to $30, 9.8 going for 80. And this one is one of the few Mark Spears things that hasn't sustained, that has fallen back, 5 to 20, 30 to 55 on recent 9.8s. So yeah, a bit of a trap here. Not enough interest in this particular one to keep people going. This is not Monsters. This is Mark Spears on something else, and this one has not held that kind of value. Next, we got Magic #1, the second print, J. Scott Campbell, 1 in 25. So there's a bunch of different versions that he made of her in this pose with different backgrounds and everything else. This one's the 1 in 25 for the second print. Was going for 55, so right around double ratio. Usually not a great sign if a 1 in 25 only gets a double ratio. In this case, it's held pretty well. I still put it as down because it is 40 to 50. Nothing got above the $50 mark, and the average before was 50. So down and I'll be back. But not doing too bad for a 1 in 25 second print altogether. It's held on better than most that only get this high, but yeah, still no real reason to have chased it back then. Next, we have Geiger #10, the second print, first cover appearance of Glowing Woman. So Glowing Woman made her appearance in this book. We get her here on the second print. It was only 10 to 20 back then. Now it's 4 to 10, although there was a single $20 sale mixed in there. But clearly kind of an outlier compared to the other stuff. Yeah, so we're down and I'll be back. No reason to have chased this particular book. You can still basically find this for cover price if you looking in the right spot. So yeah, no reason to have chased the Glowing Woman at this point. I know I got a lot of friends that like this Geiger universe, and at least some of the books, but none of these have really held any kind of real value. Next, we have DC All-In Special from 2024. It's a #1. This is the first appearance of Absolute Batman, Absolute Wonder Woman, Absolute Superman. Still only $10 back then, 9.8 100 with the series kicking off. Everybody for the most part, I think, enjoying these three series. I wasn't a big fan of the Batman, but most people were. Now it's a $5 to $20 book, 55 to 100. We'll call it steady, and I'll be back because the 9.8s are pretty cheap. Still a relatively cheap book, really. If you compare this to what Absolute Batman #1 goes for, and yeah, this is super cheap in terms of his actual first appearance, going for quite a bit less. Next, we have Moon Knight #1, first Moon Knight solo. And this is just kind of this book had collapsed so much post the show, post the kind of rumors that we weren't ever going to get Oscar Isaac again, that there wasn't going to be a season 2. I know there's now been some rumors that maybe we might finally get some sort of season 2. But this book had crashed back down. So really it was just a bump in sales as people were realizing how affordable the book had become. $50 back then for on average raw, 9.8, $270. Now it's a 15 to 50, 9.8, 250 to 260. So still kind of a down. I'll be back from then. It's still a very cheap book compared to what it was around the show. If you're interested in this series and this book, it's still pretty darn affordable right now. All right, next we have Fantastic Four #112. We've gotten the trailer, and this is what second or third kind of thing, fighting somebody book that kind of hit the list during this period post of the Fantastic Four trailer. We didn't really get anything like this in the movie, but yeah, this was kind of people were going back and getting interested in these classic thing covers. 35 to 180 back then, 75, 275, 35 all the way to 600. I will say that 600 is a high-end outlier, but it was also like basically crisp copy. I mean, it's in the nines for sure. 75, 285. So basically very steady overall in terms of like the values on this book. I mean, obviously there's a couple of higher end raw sales, but there's probably as much about just being a higher quality raw for sale than it is that the raws have jumped in value. Across most grades, sitting pretty steady here 6 months later, a month post the movie release. Next, we have Fantastic Four #48, first appearance of Silver Surfer, cameo of Galactus. Yeah, raw copy back then was basically 400 to 1500. There was like a high end outlier that was like 3000 or something. An 8.0 going for 3100 back then. Now 300 to 1400 on recent raw sales. 8.0, 3000, 3250. So yeah, we're gonna call this steady and worth it. Classic Silver Age key, a book lots of people, if you're into Fantastic Four, this is one of the big books that people go after. And given post movie where we had Silver Surfer, we had Galactus, obviously different version of Silver Surfer. This book is still doing really well, right where it was 6 months ago. Next, we have Daredevil 227, the start of the Born Again storyline. This was still pre-story. We knew that basically the story had been done in season 3 on Netflix, but they were using the name, so people were still chasing this book. $15 to $35 back then, 9.8 for $225. Now it's a 10. That should be 15 to 35. I don't know why it says 35.20. That's a typo, but 15 to 35 back then. 10 to 40 now. 150 to 200 for 9.8. So we'll call it steady, and I'll be back. 9.8 are backed up a little bit. Raw copies are still going to right throughout that whole range that it was back then. All right, next. We got Punisher #1 from 1987, first ongoing Punisher series. Basically, we knew we were getting Punisher in the Daredevil story or in the Daredevil show. That was what was causing us to hit the list. $40 back then, 9.8, 150. Now a raw copy will cost you 10 to 30, 9.8, 150 to 250. So raws are actually a little cheaper, a little more affordable. 9.8s have actually bumped up a little bit. So overall, we're just going to call this kind of steady and worth it. If you're a big Punisher fan, this is a book most people want, even though I don't know how, if he shoots off that bazooka in that window, he doesn't just get blown off the building and die also, but hey, it's the Punisher. Who's the logic? So next we have Amazing Spider-Man #135, more because we'd gotten confirmation we were getting Punisher in the show. This is his third appearance, $20 to $100 for raw copies, 9.0, 630. Now it's a 20 to 150. But a 9.0 is 250, and we've seen this back up across several grades in terms of like the great. The raw copies are still the same, but graded copies have backed up here. So we're going to call this down and I'll be back, because it's not just the 9.0s that appear to have backed down in terms of value. The cat is like, hey, pay attention to me. So we'll see if she'll chase it since she brought her ball to me. Next, we have Amazing Spider-Man number 129, the first appearance of the Punisher. Obviously, this is a key that really doesn't get affected too much by these kind of buzz, but it's, it's still way, way down from the comic boom. Back then, it was recent sales were 300 to 1,600 on Raw, 9.4 for 39.60. Now it's recent Raw sales 3 to 1,300, 9.4, 34 to 38. So we'll call it steady and I'll be back. It's still right in the same range. Obviously, this is a book that is a grail for a lot of folks that love this character. So a big, big book. This is one of those, as Marcus would call it, a get in where you fit in. This is, if you're chasing this, it's not because Punisher's going to show up in some show or movie. You're chasing it because you love the character and you're looking for the right book at the right price. Next, we have Hulk number 16, first appearance of Red She-Hulk. Betty was supposed to return in Brave New World, or did return in Brave New World. I've still yet to see that one. I keep saying I'm going to watch it some weekend, but I just haven't got around to it because I was laid up when it came out, so I didn't get to it in theaters. Back then, 20 to 45, 9.8, 105. Now 10 to 30, 9.8, 65 to 100. So down and I'll be back. Obviously, we didn't get a Red Hulk version of her. So yeah, this is maybe something we'll get in the future, maybe not. Still a pretty good cover for a first appearance of a character, but a pretty cheap key if you're really after this one. Next, we have Captain America Sam Wilson, number 3, first appearance of Joaquin Torres as Falcon. Obviously, we got him in the movie as well. Back then, $20 for raw copies, 9.8. It's going only for 40. That's super, super cheap if you're interested in this character at all. But clearly, people really aren't, because now it's a $4 to $17 book raw. No reason 9.8 sales. So down and I'll be back. No reason to chase it. But yeah, he did appear in a movie, and it just shows that like the low end on some of these, a character like this goes for this kind of value, and you get, and then we get people chasing, other characters that we've never heard of that maybe might appear in a casting, and people are paying like double, triple this for. So, and finally this week we got Truth, Red, White, and Black, number 1, first appearance of Isaiah Bradley, appeared again in the movie after he appeared in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. 15 to 30 back then, 9.8, 115 to 120. Obviously, this book is also way down from when we first thought when he first appeared in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And it's still down further now that we're post-movie, 6 months, I guess. 5 to 25, 9.8, 80 to 120. So down and I'll be back. So that is this week's list. Those are our books. Yeah. Last week we had a bunch of ups. This week we had no ups. We did have a fairly decent spread between steady and down. Obviously, the Knights number 1 was actually, we didn't have any big giant decreases. That Knights number 1 had a 60% increase, but you're talking about at a pretty low level of book. So yeah, nothing too much more typical this week than what we've gotten in recent weeks. I want to do a quick shout out to my members. Thank all of those folks for following the channel, for being members, helping support me, get through, afford StreamYard, and do all that kind of stuff, so I can keep this channel going. Thanks to all of you guys. Members do get for monthly giveaways. They also get all my videos like this, all these pre-records early. So that is some of the benefits of being a member. I want to thank you guys for watching. And with that, we will catch you next time. Later.